Nobody, not even her, knew what was about to happen.
I don't think that there will be a woman Prime Minister in my lifetime.
She broke the consensus that had governed Britain since the war and set the country in a new direction. Oh, and she was the first woman to become Prime Minister.
She waves as Prime Minister.
Margaret Thatcher was, quite simply, a phenomenon.
Where there is discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is error, may we bring truth. Where there is doubt, may we bring faith. And where there is despair, may we bring hope.
As she set out to make British industry leaner and fitter, unemployment trebled and opposition grew. There were riots in London, Liverpool, Birmingham. But she was defiant.
To those waiting with bated breath for that favourite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
Some wanted to talk, but Margaret Thatcher was ready to fight. And victory in the South Atlantic became her victory. She was rewarded with an election landslide. And there were always more enemies. In 1984, the IRA blew up the Grand Hotel in Brighton. They killed 5 of Margaret Thatcher's friends and colleagues, and they very nearly killed her.
You hear about these atrocities, these bombs. You don't expect them to happen to you. But life must go on, as usual.
And your conference will go on.
Thank you. Will go on.
Thank you.
All right, John. The conference will go on, as usual.
A third election victory followed, and it seemed nothing could stand in her way. She was by now a leading figure on the world stage, a close ally and friend of Ronald Reagan, and famously the one who identified the Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev as a man we could do business with. But at home, she was now on the defensive, and so in the dying days of 1990, she was gone, not rejected by the voters, but betrayed by her party. It was quick and brutal.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're leaving Downing Street for the last time after 11 and a half wonderful years, and we're very happy that we leave the United Kingdom in a very, very much better state than when we came here 11 and a half years ago.
Even in her enforced retirement, though, she remained a massive presence. Her Conservative successors couldn't ignore her, as she was still so popular with the party. But she became increasingly frail after she lost her beloved husband Dennis, the rock on which she had built her career. She was still seen around Westminster, here returning to number 10 as the guest of another Conservative Prime Minister. But age and illness were clearly overtaking her. She was invited to the royal wedding as a former Prime Minister, but she wasn't strong enough to attend. Even at the end, though, there was enough to remind you of why for so long she was known as the Iron Lady. Andy Bell, 5 News.
She dated some prominent men, including in 2001, former talk show host Montel Williams. Back then, he was the famous one and had to introduce her to the paparazzi.
Governor and I, and we were all doing a tour of the library here and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
You're watching any level of news, even social media, you're seeing everything that's going on right now in the Ukraine. Break it down in layman's terms for people who don't understand what's going on and how can this directly affect the people of the United States.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
I'm wondering what the United States is going to do more specifically to set up a permanent infrastructure And relatedly, is the United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees? And for President Duda, I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Okay, I can first.
When it comes to the climate crisis, which is why we will work together and continue to work together to address these issues, to tackle these challenges, and to work together as we continue to work operating from the new norms, rules, and agreements that we will convene to work together on to galvanize global action. With that, I thank you all. This is a matter of urgent priority for all of us, and I know we will work on this together. This was a productive trip in terms of the extensive bilateral meetings that we had that were in furtherance of the ongoing collaboration and partnership with our allies. It was important in that, as you all know, this is a moment that is very dynamic, if not every hour, certainly every day. There seem to be new moments of interest and also of intelligence. And so we have affirmed, however, all of that being said, through these last couple of days, that this alliance is strong, probably stronger than it was before. And we'll deal with what we need to deal with in terms of also as we move forward, all agreeing that we got to be smarter as a country in terms of who has access to what, and in particular assault weapons. And we got to take this stuff seriously as you are, because you have been forced to have to take it seriously. The whole nation should understand and have a level of empathy to understand that this can happen anywhere, in any peace-loving community, and we should stand together and speak out about why it's got to stop. Thank you.
Madam Vice President. We need to do domestically what we need to do to bring down the cost of gas. Well, right? Right?
I seen a meme the other day that said me Googling online how to make gas at home. Okay?
Ooh, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
Hilarious.
I think all of us share a deep sense of outrage that the United States Supreme Court took a constitutional right that was recognized, took it from the women of America.
It is our purpose to retain the power and influence of this House and not to denude it of many of the powers. I wonder what the right honourable gentleman's policy is in view of some of the things he said. Would he have agreed to a commitment to extend the community's powers to other supplementary sectors of economic integration without having any definition of what they are? Would he? Because you would have thought he would from what he said. One of them was that the Commission wants to extend its powers and competence into the area of health. We said no, we weren't going to agree to those things. And what he says, he sounded as if he would, for the sake of agreeing, for the sake of being little Sir Echo and saying me too. Would he have agreed to extending qualified majority voting within the Council, to delegating implementing powers to the Commission, to a common security policy, all without any attempt to define or limit them? The answer is yes. He hasn't got a clue about the definition of some of the things he is saying, let alone securing a definition of others. Yes, the Commission does want to increase its powers. Yes, it is a non-elected body, and I do not want the Commission to increase its powers against this House. So, of course, we are differing. Of course, the chairman or the president of the Commission, Mr. Delors, said at press conference the other day that he wanted the European Parliament to be the democratic body of the community. He wanted the Commission to be the executive, and he wanted the Council of Ministers to be the Senate. No. No. No.
Madam Vice President.
What he have agreed to a commitment to extend the community's powers to extend its powers and competence into the area of health without any definition of what they are? Would he? Because you would have thought he would from what he said. To those waiting with bated breath for that favorite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.